So welcome for attending. I'm really looking forward to having you guys for the next 3 Saturdays. The way we've broken up the course is into 3 main parts. Part 1 is going to be focused on the theory of Agile. What is Agile? How do we know if we're being Agile? What's the difference between Agile and traditional methods? There's a spectrum of methodologies, all the way from waterfall at one end, all the way down through iterative incremental down to Agile. And it helps us figure out later on today, how do we choose what is the right spot for our project? Every project has unique needs, unique concerns. So what are the particular trade-offs that we can make to find the right spot along that spectrum for my project? In other words, how do you choose the right methodology for your project? So that'll be part of today. We're going to do some exercises, choosing methodologies, getting an understanding of the benefits, the pros and cons of the various approaches to identify the right types of methodology for a unique project. As well, we're going to talk about how do we tailor our methodologies. So even though we have, for example, a waterfall project, how do we make it a little more agile without catching the attention of the process police in our organization? Or if we're starting with Agile, how do we effectively make it a little more disciplined or governed for a particular situation without killing its ability to be responsive or being agile in itself? So that's a lot of what we're covering in the first day. Day 2 is hands-on. So while the first day is a lot of theory, I mean, we're going to be doing a couple activities, but it's mostly theoretical stuff. How does this all work? How do I understand it? You know, we'll get an overview of Scrum today. So those of you who want to learn some Agile methods, you may have heard of Scrum. So you'll get a good overview of Scrum, extreme programming, feature-driven development. We'll go through a lot of that today. Tomorrow is now hands-on for day 2 and 3. Day 2 is mostly about what happens at the beginning of a project, while the project's getting started. Initial requirements gathering, design, prioritization, planning, estimating. You know, before a business kicks off a project, they want to know, how much is it going to cost me? What am I going to get for that money? And when is it going to be done by? Regardless of what methodology you're using, those are challenges that you're going to be facing. So tomorrow, we go into the details of how do you do that. So on Agile projects, often are for projects where we have problems identifying the scope, and clarifying it right up front often. How do you plan and how do you estimate when you're not even sure what the scope is? That's the questions we'll address tomorrow. Hands-on, how do we do it? Or sorry, not tomorrow, the second session. The third session, I usually teach us 3 consecutive days. The third session, day 3, we're getting into now some of the stuff that happens during the course of the project. Change control, change management, quality, how do we do quality management, metrics, tracking, all that kind of stuff happens on, we'll discuss that on the 3rd day. And at the end of this course, on the 3rd day, we're going to be talking about some examinations that are available to test your knowledge and understanding of Agile. There's 2 of them out there that are pretty decent right now. One is offered by the Project Management Association of Canada, and that's the Certified Agile Project Manager exam. And the second one is now just being announced by PMI. PMI has also offered an Agile Certified Practitioner designation. And it's being piloted this fall. In September is the first round. And I have a little bit of involvement with it at the periphery, so I can give you the insight and tell you a little bit more about it and how it works. I'll be giving you some handouts on that on day 3. At the end of this course, around 3 o'clock on the 3rd day, the formal training portion of this course is wrapped up, and I will give you a 2-hour period in which, if you wish, you can choose to write the Certified Agile Project Manager exam from the Project Management Association of Canada. It's optional. You don't have to write it. However, in your course fee, the exam registration has already been covered. So why not give it a shot, right? As I said, as I go through the course, I will be identifying things that you may want to highlight or pay attention to, so you'll be ready when the exam time comes around. You'll know what you needed to have studied for. Most people do well on the exam that I've trained, because I've been through enough of these and seen the exam enough times. It's randomly generated from a database of questions, but I've seen so many times that I think I kind of have seen a lot of the questions, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. So I think I can tailor the right approach on the course to make sure you're prepared for the exam. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself, then I want to go around the room, because there's 100 different ways I could teach this course and different examples that I can use, and I want to tailor them to you. So, my name's Kevin Aguanno. I am a an executive project manager, certified by IBM. I worked there for 15 years, just recently left to go out on my own, and very happy about the decision. One of the things I did at IBM, I was the head of the IBM Agile Center of Competence in one of their business units. And for a long time, part of my job included promoting Agile within IBM, but also working with our clients in managing the transition to Agile. As they do these Agile adoptions, they were getting into difficulty. Right? It's a significant change from how we traditionally work. So I worked with big banks and insurance companies and people like that on helping them through this transition into Agile. So what I'm going to be teaching in this course is a little bit different from what most Agile courses will teach. Most Agile courses take a very simplistic view of Agile, assuming you've got half a dozen people working together in the same room. You know, you're probably working in a smaller organization, not a lot of governance processes and things like that. My approach that I'm going to be taking on this course is, now let's make that work in the real world. Right? A lot of us work for big companies, big organizations, and we have processes and governance and auditors and people like that looking over our shoulders. So how do we make this work in those kinds of environments? So that's what we're going to be covering in this course. So there's a bias towards larger organizations, more structure, more governance. How do we do Agile in a disciplined way?